I believe Grand Theft Auto 5 needs no introduction. Ever since it was first released in 2013, it has gone on to become one of the biggest video games of all time. The game has reached many milestones. It won numerous Game of the Year awards in 2013. It is Rockstar's best-selling video game. It is the best-selling PS3 game. And most of all, it is the second best-selling video game of all time, with only Minecraft selling more copies. It is also one of, if not, the most profitable entertainment product ever made. Simply put, it is a massive game, and it will go down in gaming history as a timeless classic. Or at least that's how it should have been. No. Instead, Grand Theft Auto 5 has become a stale game that no longer feels fresh to play. Back then, driving around Los Santos and taking in how big the map was fun to do. Nowadays, driving around Los Santos is extremely boring. The game is almost a decade old, and not only does it still not have a follow-up, but it's also taking away the attention from a much more recent Rockstar project. I think it's safe to say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is no longer the masterpiece that it used to be. Over the last few years, the game's reputation has gotten worse and worse within the Rockstar community. Many people, myself included, are sick of the game, and we just want Rockstar to do something new. In this video, I will go over the history of GTA 5, and how the game would eventually overstay its welcome as the years went by. I want to say in advance that this might be a bigger video than anticipated, and that if I have to, I will make a second video dedicated entirely to GTA 5, just so you can truly grasp how much this game has fallen from grace. For now though, let us go back to the beginning.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather.
What you just heard was a line that would change gaming forever. On November 2nd, 2011, Rockstar Games released the very first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, although I wasn't a fan of GTA or Rockstar Games during that time, I imagine everyone that watched this trailer when it first came out shat their pants in excitement. You watch this trailer, and you know that this would be a completely different experience from GTA 4. The rather dull brown color scheme that GTA 4 had was now completely gone. This new GTA game would be more colorful and full of life. During the trailer, you would also get a first glimpse of the protagonist for the game. Obviously, now we know he's Michael DeSanta, but back then, nobody knew who this was, and nobody especially knew that the game would have two other protagonists alongside Michael. To this day, this trailer remains Rockstar's most viewed video on their YouTube channel, currently having a whopping 83 million views, and even though this trailer is over a decade old, and the game is way past its prime, watching this trailer just gives you this hype feeling. Even if you got into GTA and Rockstar games long after this trailer dropped, like I did, you can watch this trailer, and still get a taste of the excitement that everyone had when it initially dropped. It really makes you wonder how the first trailer for GTA 6 could turn out in comparison. Considering all that has happened with Rockstar games nowadays, I unfortunately don't think the first GTA 6 trailer will come close to being as hype as this trailer. Actually, I don't think GTA 6 in general will be as hype as previous GTA games. But that's a story for another day. A story that I really hope ends up being wrong. Anyways, throughout 2012 and 2013, we would get more and more information about the game, including 3 trailers, each for the game's protagonists, Michael DeSanta, Franklin Clinton, and Trevor Phillips. Let me tell you, if people were hyped during the initial trailer, back when Michael was the only known protagonist, I can't even imagine the excitement people had when it was announced that the game would have 3 playable characters. We would also get a gameplay video that would show what the gameplay for the game would be like. Eventually though, after almost 2 years of waiting, the big day would finally arrive. September 17th, 2013. Grand Theft Auto 5 is finally released to the world, and everyone goes apeshit. You watch old YouTube videos of the game's midnight release, and you could tell that people weren't fucking around. They were excited for this game, and they wanted to play it ASAP. The game would unsurprisingly become a massive success. It would become the fastest selling entertainment product of all time. earning $800 million on its first day of release alone. In addition, the game was acclaimed by critics and fans alike, and would go on to win numerous accolades. Once again, although I wasn't a fan of GTA during this time, I could still feel the hype that everyone had for this game, and watching these old midnight release videos makes me wish I was a part of the fun. Not to mention, they make me extremely nostalgic for 2013. Please, take me back. I'm sick of this fucking decade. Anyways, GTA 5, alongside the GTA franchise and Rockstar Games as a whole, had a bright future ahead of them at the time. GTA 5 especially had the potential to reach the classic status that the older GTA games had. I sure do hope nothing bad happens to GTA 5 that would prevent the game from getting the classic status that it deserves to get, and would also ruin both GTA and Rockstar Games. Let's not be ridiculous. This game will be seen as a masterpiece in the years to come. What could possibly go wrong? On October 1st, shortly after the release of the game, Rockstar would release, do I really have to talk about this? Fine. Let's just get this over with. Rockstar would release Grand Theft Auto Online, an online counterpart for the game. Now, online modes for Rockstar games were nothing new at the time. Some of Rockstar's previous games had online modes. However, the online mode for GTA 5 would prove to be very different, in a very bad way. As I've stated before, I never personally cared for GTA Online. I always preferred playing the story mode, so I might come off as being a bit biased whenever I talk about GTA Online throughout these videos. Regardless, in my eyes, GTA Online will forever be seen as the thing that ruined Rockstar Games, the reason why we still don't have GTA 6, the reason why GTA 5 will never earn the classic status that previous GTA games had, and the reason why Red Dead Redemption 2 would eventually get neglected by Rockstar, despite getting a fuck ton of critical acclaim, arguably more so than GTA 5. At the same time, I don't want to 100% antagonize GTA Online. I'm sure that back then, it was a fun game, and a great addition to GTA 5, but the damage it has done to this franchise nowadays is something that cannot be easily forgiven or forgotten. There's also the fact that GTA Online is literally the only reason why people still give a shit about GTA 5, but I'll go into more detail about that when the time comes. When I finally got my own copy of GTA 5, after years of sharing the game with my older cousin, I promised myself that I would never play GTA Online, not even once, and to this day, I have still kept my promise. I feel like my dislike towards GTA Online has gotten more severe over the last few years. Back then, I didn't like GTA Online, simply because it just wasn't my cup of tea. Nothing more, nothing less. Nowadays though, I hate GTA Online, because it took a great game, and destroyed the good reputation that it once had, and because it prevented us from getting a new GTA game, for almost a fucking decade. If I ever played GTA Online nowadays, I would become part of the problem, and I don't want to do that. What I'm basically saying is, the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions of GTA 5 are the ideal versions to play, since GTA Online was shut down on those versions of the game, back in December 2021. Slowly but surely, nature is healing. Oh yeah, since I brought up the 7th generation versions of the game, I think it's time for us to move on to the next important date. Okay, so GTA 5 was first released in September 2013 for the Xbox 360 and PS3, and not long after that, the two successors for those consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4, would be released. Logically, this would mean GTA 5 would get ported onto the Xbox One and PS4. It would only make sense. GTA 5 was just getting bigger and bigger, and putting it onto next-gen consoles could make it even bigger. And so, on June 9th, 2014, Rockstar released a trailer, announcing that the game would not only be released onto the Xbox One and PS4, but it would be released onto PC. Just like before, the hype was out of control. On November 4th, only a few days before the release of this new version, Rockstar Games uploaded a video showing off one of the new things added to this version of the game, a first-person mode. A first for the GTA series. With this new first-person mode, you could now feel like you are Franklin, Michael, or Trevor, although I'm not sure if that should necessarily be considered a good thing. Now it truly feels like you, the player, are part of every police chase and heist that occurs in the game. One day later, on November 5th, Rockstar would upload a video comparing the graphics of the 7th gen version to the graphics of the 8th gen version, and showing how much better the graphics for the 8th gen version are in comparison. Certain areas have more detail than before. Vehicles, such as cars or helicopters, now have shiny reflections at night, and the draw distance was significantly improved compared to the 7th gen version. I'm not one to make a big deal about graphics in video games, but it's honestly amazing looking at how much better the graphics are when compared to the 7th gen version. Sometimes, I find it baffling to think that GTA 5 was not only released onto the Xbox 360 and PS3, but was also released before the Xbox One and PS4 were even released. Finally, on November 18th, the 8th gen version of the game was here, and once again, the game received universal acclaim, with critics and fans alike praising the new additions added to the game. The PC version of the game would eventually be released on April 13th. 2015, and for a while, that was it when it came to big things relating to GTA 5. Obviously, you had various updates and whatnot for GTA Online, but again, I never cared for GTA Online, and I don't think they're worth bringing up, so I'm not going to talk about them. Before we move on, let me give you a brief timeline for the game, since our next important date occurs long after our previous important date. Okay, here we go. 2013 up to, I don't know, the first half of 2016 I suppose, was the golden age for the game. During this time, the game was a legitimately iconic game. Both the story mode and the online mode were immensely popular. You couldn't go a day without seeing something relating to the game, whether it be in real life or on the internet. I think it's safe to say that the game would never reach the same level of fame that it had during this time. Next up, the latter half of 2016 up to the first half of 2020. The game skips having a silver age, and instead jumps straight to having a bronze age. During this time, the game was just kinda there, and that's it. Obviously, the game was still popular, but nowhere near as much as before. By this point, the story mode had now become completely ignored, as GTA Online would become the main focus for both the fans of the game and Rockstar Games themselves. As the years went by, more and more people started asking the same question: when is GTA 6 coming out? GTA 5 was a great game, but it was getting old, and fans were starting to get hungry for a new game. Do you remember when there were YouTubers making clickbait videos claiming to own an early copy of GTA 6? Yeah, that occurred during this time. The more the years went by, the more tired people got of GTA 5, and the more people started asking for GTA 6, but it would just never arrive. 2016 came and went, and we got nothing. 2017 came and went, and we got nothing. 2018 came and went, and, well, we got Red Dead Redemption 2, but I imagine people were still clamoring for GTA 6 despite this. 2019 came and went, and we got nothing. The first half of 2020 came and went, and we got nothing. This time though, it would be understandable, since 2020 was, well, 2020, it was justified. Or at least it would have been justified if it hadn't been for a certain event that was about to happen. Let's have a brief recap of everything I just went through first. The game went through a golden age, skipped having a silver age, and went directly into a bronze age. That could only mean one thing. In 2019, it would be announced that we would officially be getting the successors to the Xbox One and PS4, the Xbox Series X and the PS5. Let's mainly focus on the PS5. On June 11th, 2020, PlayStation held a live stream, entitled The Future of Gaming, which showed off games that would be coming out for the at the time unreleased system. Many notable games would be announced during the stream, including Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Sackboy, A Big Adventure, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, and Stray. Despite this, the stream would start off with a rather unpleasant reveal. A reveal that would make every Rockstar fan finally snap. It all started with a familiar quote.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather.
In 2011, hearing that quote made people scream in excitement. In 2020, hearing that quote made people roll their eyes and groan loudly. Yes indeed, during the stream, Rockstar announced GTA 5, again, for the third fucking time. This time, it would be on the Xbox Series X and PS5, and the internet was not having it. Countless memes were made about how Rockstar was milking GTA 5 to death. The internet wanted Rockstar to know that they didn't want this. They went into that stream, expecting something new from Rockstar, and when their logo popped up on the screen, they were fucking excited, thinking they were finally about to get GTA 6. And then Michael decides to say his line, and the internet realized that it's just GTA 5 again for the third damn time. Okay, let me give you a history lesson on GTA 5 and console generations. GTA 5 was first released onto the Xbox 360 and PS3 on September 17, 2013. By the time the game came out, the 7th generation was slowly starting to become more and more irrelevant, as the 8th generation was slowly starting to rise in popularity. In fact, I would argue that GTA 5 was the last big notable game to come out during the 7th generation. Yes, there were other notable games released onto 7th gen systems after GTA 5. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, was released onto the Xbox 360 and PS3 in 2015, and Persona 5 was released onto the PS3 in 2016/2017. Hell, you could go a step further, and count all of those cookie-cutter EA Sports and Just Dance games as big notable games, since those were basically the only games coming out for the 7th generation during the latter half of the 2010s. The last FIFA game for the Xbox 360 and PS3 came out in fucking 2018, and the last Just Dance games for the PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii, all came out in 2017. 2018, and 2019, respectively. What makes GTA 5 different from all of those other games though, is that those other games were released onto 7th gen systems and 8th gen systems at the same time. Meanwhile, GTA 5 was released before the Xbox One and PS4 were even released, and those two systems wouldn't get their own versions of the game until over a year after the game was released, and it was perfectly fine, because the game was still brand new at the time. It wouldn't make sense to leave this massively popular game on two systems that were becoming irrelevant. By 2020 though, the game was now irrelevant. There was no reason to release it again onto 9th gen systems. It gets even worse when you remember that this stream also had trailers for new games of other franchises. So us Rockstar fans got embarrassed hard when we saw this dinosaur game being announced alongside new games for Little Big Planet and Resident Evil. If they weren't going to announce GTA 6, at least they could have given us an Xbox Series X and PS5 port of Red Dead Redemption 2. It would have made a lot more sense to port that game onto 8th gen systems, instead of GTA 5, since it was a much more recent game. But no, we get the nearly decade-old game instead. Perhaps the most insulting thing about this trailer is that it reuses footage from older GTA 5 trailers that came out before the game was even fucking released, and trailers that used footage from the old 7th gen version. They even went as far as to reuse footage from the November 2011 trailer. You know, the first ever trailer for the fucking game. The trailer that was extremely close to being a decade old at the time. This is pathetic. Using ancient PS3 footage to advertise this new PS5 version is an awful idea, and it just makes it more obvious that this game is a cash grab, in case it wasn't already obvious enough. You watch the trailer for the 8th gen version, and you could tell that it would be a huge upgrade from the previous version. You watch this trailer, and you could tell that it would be no different from the 8th gen version. You could tell that this was made just to get money. To the surprise of literally no one, the trailer would get a negative reception from fans. Prior to the dislikes being removed, the video had more dislikes than likes. I had to use one of those YouTube real-time websites in order to see the dislikes. And, yeah, you could tell that people weren't happy about the game. This 9th gen version of the game would be often referred to by Rockstar as expanded and enhanced. And spoiler alert, the game would turn out to be neither of those things. In the description for the trailer, Rockstar announced that this version of the game would be coming out during the second half of 2021, which would end up not happening. Without going into too many details, we would instead get something else during the second half of 2021. Something much worse. Anyways, it is with this trailer, where the dark age for GTA 5 would begin, and the chances of the game ever going back to its glory days were slim to none. For the rest of 2020, we got no new updates for expanded and enhanced, but that was all about to change in 2021.